Hi, this is Hank. Today we're going to do a little upholstering. I'm going to work on this golf cart seat. It's got a few issues. It flips down into utility mode. When you do that, the cushion tries to fall off. Part of that's due to the fact there's no handle to grab that seat and pull it up. So you end up grabbing hold of the cushion and pulling it up, which pulls it loose. And also it needs a new covering. Look at that. It's got some pretty bad wear on it. So we're going to attempt to recover this. I bought some marine vinyl from the local fabric shop, and we're going to see if we can put that on there. First thing we have to do is take the seat off of the golf cart. So it's just a few screws on the back side there. Just take those out. Now I'm having a little trouble getting some of these screws out because the wood they're screwed into is soft, so the screws aren't backing out. So I just grabbed a big old fender washer, but you stick anything in there, metal preferably, just jam it into the threads like I'm doing right there, and the screw will just follow right out. So that's just a little handy trick. So now we've got the seat off. Let's take a quick look at it. Got a couple pieces of thin plywood, some foam, and then the vinyl wrapped around and stapled down. Looks pretty simple. Let's see what we can do with this. So I looked around. I saw this piece of plywood laying in the shop there, which was about perfect for what we're doing. So I'm going to trace around the seat and get the right size and shape. Then we'll cut this out and we'll attach it to the back. I'm going to leave the seat assembled as it is and just add to it rather than trying to rebuild the entire seat from scratch. Now we have the pattern of what the bottom of the seat should look like marked out on this piece of plywood. We just cut on the lines, and we'll just make this piece of scrap wood into the new bottom of my golf cart seat. So the next step is attach the new board to the bottom of the old seat. So a couple things to point out here. I've noted there are the soft spots right there on the old seat. Won't do a lot of good to drive screws in those areas because they're not going to hold anything. So I went ahead and marked on my plywood where those soft spots are. And then selecting the screws. You want something that's going to go through enough to hold, but keep in mind you're poking through up toward the cushion. So if someone would climb on this seat with their knee, you don't want that screw sticking through so far that it could jab them. So I've found screws that stick through the right amount, hopefully. And when I get this done, I will definitely test it out to make sure that I'm not creating some sort of a hazard for someone climbing up on that seat later. I'm testing to see if I can feel that screw. I can feel it. I can't really poke it through, but it concerns me. So we're going to add some extra padding to the top to make sure this is totally safe. Next step is to get the fabric onto the seat. So just flip the seat upside down onto the fabric, center it up as best as I can here, and then I'm going to anchor one side so that I have something to stretch against. So I'm just going to staple this one side. Now I'm going to address those screws that were just a little bit longer than I wanted. I could feel them, but they weren't really poking through, but I don't want anybody ever getting hurt on my stuff. So this piece of memory foam is just the added safety margin that I need. So I'm going to tape it to the top of the seat, and then I'll be able to wrap the vinyl over the memory foam. Okay, now the next step is to wrap the vinyl around, stretch it, and secure it. So start out with the lengthwise, stretch it around as well as I can, staple it down really good. Now I've got to do some creative folding on these corners. So I did a little playing around and finally came up with what I thought would look the best. I'm going to have one fold show, which I think is totally acceptable for a do-it-yourself job. So that'll be the fold right there that will show. Pull that around, and there we go. That's what the front corner will look like. Now the back corner, which will not show as much, if at all, but still wanted to make it look as good as I can. So I've got to come up with the folding technique on that one as well. Folding and pulling and trying to get as many wrinkles out and show as few creases as possible. And just it's artistry at this point. So repeat the process on the other end, and then you'll have the seat cushion part finished.
So what I need is some sort of handle to pull this seat up with. So just this little piece of angle, what I had laying around, I'm just going to tack weld that on the sides. Then I'll be able to reach in. I'll show you how it works in a little bit. Okay, so now I'll be able to reach behind the seat and pull it up without pulling on the cushion itself. So once this is bolted down, I'll be able to reach in there and open her up. No problems. Okay, now all I have to do is secure this. So there you go. I just put the original screws back in here through the new wood. Have a handy handle here, so now I'm not pulling on that cushion. When I do flip my seat up, I grab that handle, so I won't be forcing it out anymore. And there you go.
So the total cost of this project was about $17 for the fabric. I had the scrap plywood, the scrap piece of metal for the handle, and it took me an hour and a half probably to do it. So that's how that works. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. We appreciate your patronage at How That Works with Hank Ball.